Exploring the ocean is like entering a mysterious, uncharted world. Beneath the waves, many have experienced thrilling and terrifying encounters with sharks, each more shocking than the last. We've gathered a collection that shows just how intense these moments can be. Join us as we uncover 20 terrifying shark encounters caught on tape. Number 20. Great White breaks the cage. A group of divers embarked on this super thrilling adventure with sharks, something you don't come across every day. The action started when one brave diver hopped into a diving cage, while the others fed the sharks with a rope and generous chunks of tuna. Now, things took a bit of a wild turn when, out of the blue, one of the sharks, fueled by some sort of shark rage, went for a bite with such power that it temporarily lost its vision. This furious shark crashed into the cage, causing some damage and leaving it all disoriented. With its messed up sense of direction, the shark couldn't figure out how to swim backward, so it just powered ahead until it burst through the cage's railings. Now here's the impressive part. When this happened, there was just one diver inside the cage. But the guy was a professional. He didn't panic at all. Instead, he dropped down to the bottom of the cell and calmly exited through the entrance. Even though two sharks were hanging around nearby, he just waited patiently for the second shark to clear the cage before heading back up to the surface completely unscathed. That's definitely what you call an extraordinary encounter. Even the people who organized the tour were utterly blown away by this one-of-a-kind interaction. They'd never seen a shark behave like that, let alone a cage getting smashed. It's a stark reminder of these incredible sea creatures' sheer power and unpredictability. Number 19. Shark flips over kayaker. This was a scary encounter between a guy in what looks like a pretty flimsy kayak and a seriously imposing shark. Our fearless adventurer here is Ben Chansey, a U.S. Coast Guard captain who runs fishing charters. He found himself off the coast of Stuart, Florida, on a fishing expedition with his sights set on catching some massive Goliath groupers. Now here's where things get interesting. As he was trying to reel in one of these giants, his kayak ended up being surrounded by not just one but several bull sharks. Now Ben, equipped with his trusty rod and reel, is holding a whopping 15-pound bait. He decides to lower it into the water, hoping to lure in a grouper. Lo and behold, a grouper does show up from among the bull sharks, and it is absolutely ravenous. It devours the bait with gusto, but in the ensuing struggle, the grouper pulls the rod right out of Ben's hands, completely tossing him off balance. The bull shark, seizing the moment, goes for the bait too, and that's when the showdown kicks into high gear. The shark starts spinning Ben around like a merry-go-round and drags him across the ocean for a solid 20 minutes. Ben is locked in this intense battle with the powerful predator. But then, just when you think it can't get crazier, the shark decides to swim right under his kayak, causing it to flip over. Most of us would probably start panicking at this point, but not Ben. He stays cool, realizing the gravity of the situation. Instead of sticking around in the water as shark bait, he makes a smart move and decides to swim to a nearby support boat. Wearing a life jacket, he swiftly paddles his way to safety, well aware of the lurking dangers posed by the presence of all those sharks. Number 18. Massive great white shark attack. Jimmy Partington is no ordinary diver. He's an expert, and he's inside a sturdy shark cage to add a layer of safety. However, this clever great white shark figured out how to crack open that can of human food, so to speak. Out of nowhere, the shark suddenly lunged at the cage from below, tipping Jimmy out into the water. He's now in a frantic swim for his life, trying to make it back to the boat before that shark gets any ideas. We already know great white sharks have a whole arsenal of adaptations and features that make them some of the most efficient hunters on the planet. We're talking 3 rows of wickedly sharp teeth, and that adds up to about 300 teeth in total, in case you didn't know this too. As many as half of all shark attacks on humans in the world might be attributed to the great white. Although these sharks are not always out to kill the humans they nibble on, some scientists have suggested that they're just curious and taking a little sample taste of a human, but they tend to discard them when they realize humans aren't quite what they're looking for. Not exactly reassuring for the victims since, given the sheer size and enthusiasm of their bites, many of these great white snack-sized nibbles often end up being fatal anyway. Number 17. Great white surprise. Even the most seasoned shark experts can't escape an excellent old scare now and then. Turns out that sharks seem to have a knack for humor, or they're just really keen on having us for dinner every so often. In this case, some people from the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy are doing field work off the coast of Wellfleet, Massachusetts. Everything was going well until this shark decided to give them a little adrenaline boost just to ensure they were wide awake and alert. In case you missed it, the shark springs right out of the water, making a bold move toward the guy standing on the bow of the boat. Lucky for him, a trusty metal grate is standing between him and the shark's jaws. These marine biologists have been at this game for years, so for them to react with the same shock and fear as anyone else would, that says a lot. Let's not forget that sharks are incredibly intelligent and absolutely formidable creatures. Number 16. Tiger shark attack. Tiger sharks are the fourth largest kind of shark, growing up to a whopping 18 feet long and tipping the scales at a jaw-dropping 2,000 pounds. The only shark that surpasses them in size among the predators is the mighty great white shark. Fisherman Scott Haraguchi had a rather perplexing encounter with one while out on his kayak off the shores of Oahu. He described the whole experience in a video shared by Hawaii Nearshore Fishing. He said he heard this distinct whooshing sound and noticed a large brown something right next to his kayak. At first, he thought it might be a turtle, but it didn't take him long to realize it was a tiger shark that had decided to give his kayak a bit of a nudge. Quick thinking helped him out of this situation, as you can see in the video. Haraguchi wasted no time trying to fend off the shark's repeated advances on his kayak. He used his foot to push the shark away, and it all unfolded so fast that he later admitted he didn't even realize what he was doing at the time. In his own words, "I didn't realize it at the time, but I had pulled my left foot out of the water and pushed the shark's head away with it." In the end, the shark swam away, leaving Haraguchi pretty fired up. He had to yell to his fishing buddy that a tiger shark rammed him because the adrenaline was pumping and he had to make sure he got the message across. Later, Haraguchi mentioned to the media that he spotted an injured seal nearby and thought that the shark might have been following it. Number 15. Man greeted by great white. In 2021, Darren Verbeek, an underwater photographer, embarked on a diving expedition off the coast of Keyhole Point on the beautiful Big Island in Hawaii. It was a perfect Friday when something incredible caught Verbeek's attention. It seemed like a school of fish, but something about their size and shape made him wonder if they could be great white sharks. You might call it slightly insane, but Verbeek decided to take a closer look. To his surprise, the massive creature before him, estimated to be over 15 feet long, showed no signs of aggression. Intrigued by the shark's non-threatening attitude, Verbeek decided to hang around and observe it. Dr. Carl Meyer, a respected marine biologist associated with the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology, later shed some light on the situation. He explained that the presence of great white sharks in the area could be attributed to the arrival of humpback whales, which migrate to Hawaiian waters for breeding from November through April. According to Dr. Meyer, the behavior witnessed by Verbeek was quite typical for a great white shark in these circumstances. Number 14. Bull shark steals catch. Here we have a close-up footage of a big bull shark pulling off a cheeky theft. A fisherman decided to document his fishing adventure with a GoPro, and he captured this incident. He was all set to reel in his catch when this sizable bull shark decided it had different plans. It went all out, wrestling with the fishing line, tearing the poor fish to pieces, and helping itself to a buffet. It took 3 attempts for it to achieve this, but on the third go, that crafty bull shark managed to completely remove the fish from the line and make a swift getaway. This video made its way onto the internet courtesy of a Florida-based fishing company called Deep Blue Kayaking Fishing. Actually, this sort of encounter isn't exactly a rarity in the somewhat sharky waters around the Sunshine State. Number 13. Shark dive aquarium. Some people either have unbelievable courage or perhaps lack a few brain cells. Regardless, these folks usually gravitate toward attractions that would make most of us exclaim in disbelief. At the Dubai Mall, brave and adventurous souls can dive with real gigantic sharks. In this video, you'll witness a guy experiencing the shock of his life during his very first dive. The footage is entirely unedited, and that intimidating shark is a rather gnarly-looking sand tiger shark. Its teeth are a bit on the rough side, and honestly, it's quite an imposing creature to behold. Yet, these guys manage to keep their cool even as the shark hovers just inches from their faces. It's shocking how they were able to pull that off. If they were ever to remake Jaws, it feels like this could be a perfect sequence waiting to happen. Fortunately, these guys showed the shark a lot of respect, and that's how they live to tell the tale. Number 12. Shark charges into cage. In Guadalupe Island, Mexico, there was a jaw-dropping encounter between a massive great white shark and a diver, and it was caught on camera by a fellow named Craig Caphart from Indiana. The footage captures that heart-pounding moment when this rather intimidating-looking shark decides to pay a visit to the cage where Craig and another diver are seeking refuge. Surprisingly, this incident happened in the very same cage that had been smashed open by another shark just a few weeks earlier. There's another video out there that shows diver Ming Chong briefly trapped with a 3-meter-long shark after it managed to get past the cage bars. Luckily, after a pretty intense struggle, Ming emerged from that encounter unharmed. That same week, a group of 4 divers found themselves in a similar pickle. They were temporarily stuck in a cage with yet another shark in those very same waters. At this point, you have to start wondering who in their right mind is still getting into a cage that clearly has some major security issues. However, this all happened several years ago, and there may be improvements in the cage's construction now. Number 11. Hammerhead shark. A swimmer at Panama City Beach in Florida got quite the heart-pounding experience when a hammerhead shark came swimming right towards him, only to make a last-minute swerve, narrowly avoiding any contact. Katie Allison Thompson managed to capture this nerve-wracking moment on camera, and the reactions of the people in the background paint a vivid picture of just how intense this close encounter was. It all went down on a lovely morning while this guy was taking a dip at Splash Resort back in 2021. Guests at the resort got quite the fright when they witnessed a hammerhead shark making a sudden move toward this lone swimmer along the coast. But when you take a closer look at the video, it becomes clear that the hammerhead had its sights set on a little fish. It seemed like that fish was using the swimmer as a sort of human shield, using his presence to dodge the predator's grasp. Hammerhead sharks are known for their hunting skills, and their hammer-shaped head plays a big role in their ability to track down and catch prey. The head even has two outward projections known as cephalopods. Their eyes, positioned on the sides of their heads, give them a panoramic view of their surroundings, letting them keep an eye on everything both above and below them. However, there haven't been any reported cases of unprovoked hammerhead shark attacks, but let's just say the swimmer had encountered another formidable creature farther away from the well-traveled shore. The outcome could have been a whole lot different. Number 10. Live shark fight. If there is anything more nerve-wracking than participating in a live televised surfing contest, it must be having to grapple with a shark during that very contest. This incident ranks pretty high in terms of intense, stressful experiences. This world champion Australian surfer was competing in a televised competition in South Africa while waiting for his turn. A shark came out of nowhere and struck him from behind, knocking him into the water. As you can see, it was a frantic and terrifying ordeal. The next time we see him, he's desperately trying to swim to safety, but it seems luck isn't on his side. Eventually, rescuers arrive to help him out, pulling him from the water and to safety. Now you might be wondering what happened when we couldn't see him. According to the surfer himself, he resorted to punching the shark out of sheer fear. Remarkably though, the guy escaped without any harm, except for minor bite marks on his board and a nip on his leg. On the other hand, his mother was understandably traumatized by the incident. However, the guy was thrilled to have survived a shark encounter and lived to tell the tale. Number 9. Fisherman fends off bull shark. This time, we're diving into the story of Tristan Gandy, a guy who was out on a fishing adventure for some red snapper in the waters off Panama City, Florida. The encounter he had was far from thrilling. Tristan was spearfishing in these famously shark-infested waters, which might not be the most genius move anyway. He was diving down to explore a shipwreck, and that's when things got a bit hairy. He caught the attention of a big, mean bull shark. This bull shark wasn't messing around. It lunged right at him and even took a nibble at the end of his spear. It got a tad tense for Tristan as he found himself tangling with not one but a couple of these sharks. Ultimately, Tristan decided to throw his catch into the water as a distraction to these super aggressive predators. With their attention diverted, he made his daring escape and succeeded. Number 8. Jumping shark. A group of New Zealand fishermen was surprised when a massive mako shark leaped out of the ocean and landed right on their boat, giving them a catch way bigger than they bargained for. Ryan Churches, the skipper of Churches Charters, shared this wild tale that unfolded while he was taking 5 clients fishing off Whitianga. They were out to catch kingfish when suddenly their bait was snatched up by a shortfin mako shark, the fastest shark in the world. It is capable of hitting speeds of up to 46 miles per hour. As they grappled with this giant shark, it started leaping around, prompting Churches to urge the clients to move away just in case it decided to jump into the boat. And about 30 seconds later, that's precisely what happened. Churches described the incident, saying they were all focused on the fishing rod, and the line was being pulled to the side of the boat. Suddenly, it changed direction, and at that very moment, the shark decided to take a leap. He said it gave all of them a major scare. This shark weighed in at roughly 330 pounds and measured about 9 feet long. Thankfully, both the crew and the shark came out of this encounter unharmed. This extraordinary experience with the mako shark left the fishermen in absolute awe of the sheer might and unpredictability of marine wildlife. Number 7. Shark bites boat propeller. A bunch of guys were out on a fishing adventure, cruising on a boat when suddenly they found themselves in a seriously nerve-wracking situation. This incident was one of those moments that could either score them some epic footage for their YouTube channels or land them a spot on the evening news. In this heart-pounding video, you can see the monstrous 10-foot shark, and it was not messing around. It took a chop right into the boat's motor and refused to let go. Captain Matt Zen and his 3 friends were on their annual fishing trip to Coral Bay in Perth, Australia, completely unaware of the lurking danger beneath them. After an intense battle with the formidable 10-foot-long bronze whaler for about an hour, the shark seemed to have a bone to pick with their boat and decided to take a bite into the propeller, holding on for dear life. Fortunately, this whole hair-raising encounter ended up being shared on Instagram, meaning these people survived the attack. Number 6. Kids and a great white. Drones can be excellent for tracking sharks, and we have some thrilling footage to share to prove this. While keeping an eye on the sharks in the ocean, this guy had his heart racing. He claims this video captures the closest encounter with a great white involving kids that he's ever recorded. The footage is from a Malibu beach, showing kids paddling around in deep, murky waters. Unbeknownst to them, a massive great white shark is lurking just below the surface. The kids, however, remain blissfully unaware of the situation, which is probably for the best. As it turns out, the great white shark doesn't have any real interest in the kids. It's simply curious, sniffing around to see what's happening before moving on. If the kids had known what was going on, they might have panicked, and that could have led to a dangerous situation. The guy who captured this footage later admitted feeling tremendous anxiety. Frankly, that's completely understandable. One wrong move and things could have taken a nasty turn. Now it's time for today's topic. Off the coast of Port Lincoln, South Australia, a routine shark cage dive turned into a nightmare that seasoned diver Amelia Voss, 29, will never forget. The expedition, organized by Oceanic Encounters, began like any other: calm waters, perfect visibility, and a small crew of adventure-seeking divers hoping to see great whites up close. But what surfaced that day was nothing like the creatures they trained for. Moments after Amelia descended into the water, Sonar picked up a large moving mass, far larger than any recorded shark in the area. Within seconds, a massive shadow loomed beneath her cage. What emerged was an enormous shark, estimated to be over 25 feet long, with scarring across its face and dorsal fin unlike any known species. The shark rammed the steel bars repeatedly, bending one side inward as the crew scrambled to pull her out. Marine specialists reviewing the footage later noted the shark's jaw structure appeared primitive, more in line with prehistoric predators like the megalodon. The dive site was shut down for safety reasons, and the footage has since gone viral among ocean researchers and thrill-seekers alike. To this day, experts remain divided on what exactly Amelia saw: an oversized great white, or something far older still lurking in Australian waters. Number 5. Shark attacks inflatable boat. It's bad enough to have a shark attack your boat, but if that boat happens to be inflatable, well, you're truly in for a horror story you won't forget. A group of German tourists were out enjoying the waters off the coast of Mossel Bay in South Africa when they became the unfortunate target of what appears to be an angry shark. They were on the lookout for seals when out of the blue this shark showed up and started nibbling on the edges of their inflatable. According to the experts who had organized the tour, the shark probably mistook the boat for a dead whale and decided to go for a free meal instead. This 12-foot female shark definitely gave those German tourists quite a scare, but it's an experience they'll never forget, and that's what tourists seek. The damage to the side of the vessel was so severe that it caused a portion of the inflatable to lose some air. Of course, it didn't deflate enough to cause them any serious concern, but when you've just been terrorized by a random shark, everything becomes a cause for concern. Number 4. Caddy shark. Golfing is typically a rather benign and somewhat dull sport. You stroll around, swing at balls, and occasionally cruise around in a big golf cart. But in Australia, they seem to add a touch of danger to everything because it's Australia, where even golf clubs might have a vendetta against you. Many years back, a river in Brisbane decided to overflow its banks, flooding the Carbrook Golf Club in the process. As the floodwaters surged through the course, local residents watched in disbelief as several bull sharks from the Logan River swam freely across the fairways. When the water eventually receded, a few of these apex predators were trapped in one of the larger ponds near the 14th hole. Weeks later, golfers began spotting dark fins cutting through the water surface, sparking rumors that quickly turned into local legend. At first, many dismissed the stories as exaggerations, until drone footage confirmed at least half a dozen bull sharks still living in the lake. Some players even claimed they could see the sharks following their golf balls after a missed swing. Environmental experts were baffled that the sharks managed to survive for so long, thriving in the brackish water and adapting to their new home. Over the years, the club embraced its new identity, unofficially renaming the lake the Shark Pond. Tourists, thrill-seekers, and wildlife enthusiasts began visiting, just to catch a glimpse of the notorious residents. The sharks became such an attraction that the club started hosting annual shark golf days, where spectators could watch them surface during feeding sessions. This unusual event left a bunch of bull sharks stranded at the club, which is one of the most perilous shark species known to humanity. When the water eventually receded, the sharks made themselves at home in the club and even started breeding, producing some baby man-eaters. Today, people come from far and wide to get a close-up look at these sharks, which have turned out to be a rather unexpected perk for the club. Of course, the owner occasionally tosses in some meat to entice the sharks to surface. After all, letting them feast on all the golf balls that end up in the water probably isn't the healthiest diet for man-eating sharks. A balanced diet, even for these fearsome creatures, is quite essential. Number 3. Canoe attacked repeatedly. Great whites might be the most famous sharks globally, But when it comes to the most dangerous ones, you should keep an eye out for bull sharks. These creatures are relentless and genuinely terrifying ocean beasts, as you're about to see. Back in 2015, these two canoes were out fishing on the water, just minding their own business, when they sadly became the unlucky victims of a furious bull shark. One of the fishermen had hooked what he thought was a pretty impressive catch, but as it turned out, it wasn't a fish at all. It was the furious shark itself. At first, the line went taut and the canoe jerked violently, nearly throwing one of the men overboard. The water erupted in a chaotic frenzy as the bull shark thrashed its tail, sending waves splashing into the boats. One fisherman screamed for his partner to cut the line, but before he could react, the shark rammed the side of the canoe with terrifying force. The sound of the impact echoed across the calm water, followed by the panicked shouts of the fishermen struggling to keep balance. For several tense seconds, the predator circled the canoes, its dorsal fin slicing through the surface like a blade. As the men tried to paddle away, the shark struck again, leaving deep dents on the hull before disappearing into the murky depths. The encounter lasted less than a minute but felt like an eternity for those aboard. Later, experts reviewing the footage confirmed it was a mature bull shark, known for its aggressive territorial behavior in shallow waters. After a brief but chaotic struggle to get unhooked, the shark had had enough and started lashing out at the canoes that had caused it so much misery. Amidst all the chaos, it seemed like the canoes might tip over, and the fishermen and passengers came dangerously close to taking an unscheduled swim. As if you needed more reasons to fear bull sharks, these creatures are the true terminators of the shark world. While great whites generally tend to leave humans alone, bull sharks seize any opportunity to inflict maximum damage on anything that crosses their path. Definitely not the kind of buddies you'd want around. Number 2. 9-foot bull shark. For people with a swimming pool in their backyard, the thought of a shark in it might have crossed your mind. If it hasn't, well, the unsettling idea has been introduced to you now. This footage is from Bonita Springs, Florida, and it appears to show a pretty massive bull shark hanging out in a resident's backyard. Now, it wasn't exactly a pool. It was more of a backyard pond, but the concept is pretty much the same. The shark was estimated to be about 9 feet long, and that's quite a terrifying sight to wake up to. Neighbors gathered near the dock, some filming in disbelief while others called local wildlife authorities to verify if what they were seeing was real. Within minutes, videos of the shark started circulating online, drawing thousands of comments from stunned viewers across the world. Many speculated that recent flooding from a nearby canal might have brought the bull shark inland, trapping it in the pond. Experts later confirmed that bull sharks are among the few shark species capable of surviving in freshwater for extended periods, explaining how it managed to navigate so far inland. For several hours, the shark circled calmly, occasionally breaking the surface with its dorsal fin, sending ripples across the otherwise still water. Wildlife officers eventually arrived, monitoring the animal before carefully guiding it back toward the canal using boats and ropes. The event left locals both frightened and fascinated, as it served as a reminder that nature can show up in the most unexpected of places. Given that Bonita Springs is a relatively small community, having such a colossal shark nearby didn't exactly bring comfort to the residents. However, if you're someone who has a fascination with sharks or just finds these formidable creatures intriguing, the ability to sit on your balcony and watch the local shark is pretty cool. It's kind of like having your very own shark-infested moat. These scary encounters have exposed us to different ways sharks can sneak up on people. We must stay aware and vigilant when going out to sea because we don't know where a shark might be lurking. Number 1. Shark statue. There's this eerie shark sculpture abandoned in Neuchâtel, Switzerland, and it has to be one of the most unsettling artworks you could stumble upon. You've probably seen it featured in numerous films where it stands there worn down by the water and swarmed by little fish at times. This spine-chilling creation has piqued curiosity worldwide, leaving people from all corners of the globe wondering about its origins. Now here's the backstory. The monstrous sculpture was constructed back in 2007 for a short film called Chocolate. In the film, the shark gracefully glides across the water in several scenes. When divers first discovered it years later, they thought it was a real shark at first glance, its lifelike teeth and hollow eyes creating panic underwater. Some even claimed it emitted strange metallic noises when currents passed through its frame, adding to its mystique. Over time, the statue became encrusted with algae and barnacles, blending eerily into the lakebed like a creature frozen in time. Local legends began to form, with stories circulating about night divers who swore the shark's jaw moved slightly as they swam past. Photographers from around the world have since made the journey just to capture its haunting silhouette under the dim glow of artificial lights. The surrounding community even started organizing unofficial ghost dives, where brave souls descend into the depths to face the infamous lake monster themselves. In the film, the shark gracefully glides across the water in several scenes. However, when the film production wrapped up, the team found themselves scratching their heads about what to do with this menacing shark. They finally decided to toss it into the ocean to give divers in the area a good scare. Fast forward to today, and this abandoned shark has become a hot spot for adventurous souls. The artwork, measuring a whopping 41 meters in length and 40 meters in depth from the beach to the lake, is nothing short of awe-inspiring and spine-tingling. Now, it's more than just this one sculpture in the lake. In fact, this place is teeming with underwater artworks that evoke a mix of apprehension and curiosity. These peculiar sculptures have sparked a keen interest in further exploration and documentation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.